No, no. So, where do you want to stay? Anyway. I'm just moving here. No, just anywhere. Okay. Just to be sure, I want your voice to come into the microphone, to the record. Temporarily, you can see. Two of you present. All right, Ojo, come up for dinner. All right. Start with sheets. All right. Start.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning once again. Okay, so welcome back from your Easter break. And we hope you are recharged, refreshed, and ready to dive into the future. My name is Salome Boa, together with my amazing colleague. Kamal Abbas. So we are happy to be your anchors for today's dynamic and transformative session. So I want to officially welcome you to the April Research Kitchen and step into the future with AI and innovation. Today is not just another seminar, it's a launch pad, a place where bold ideas meet with real world impact and where each of us have a role to play in shaping the future of technology. So as we explore the groundbreaking applications of AI, the Internet of Things, healthcare transformation, and mobile innovation, I encourage every one of us to be fully present, curious, and ready to engage. The future is not coming, it is already here. And today, it starts with you and I. Let us step into the future together. Today is designed to be energetic, interactive, and inspiring. We are not going to be just listeners, but also contributors. We have a rich menu for today, from the Internet of Things and AI in healthcare to real-world energy transformation and mobile innovations. Topped up with an interactive Q&A and networking opportunity session. It is my honor to introduce our host, a distinguished leader in AI research, Professor Celestine Ekweani, who has set the stage for today's exploration into the next era of smart intelligence. Thank you very much, sir, for making this available for us. Now, we are going to proceed for the first session of today. So, our first speaker for today is Victoria Ekweani. Victoria Ekweani will be talking on bridging the gap between AI, healthcare, and personal development, ensuring technology serves humanity in meaningful ways. Here is a little biography about Victoria Ekweani. She is an AI and data analytics expert, business analyst, and healthcare data professional with a rich background in both the financial and health sector. She began her academic journey with a degree in electrical electronics engineering from Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Nigeria, where she developed a strong foundation in technology, problem solving, and system optimization. With a decade of experience at Fidelity Bank in Abuja, Nigeria, Victoria played a key role in IT support and business analytics. Her work focused in using data-driven strategies to streamline operations and enhance decision-making within the banking industry. Driven by a deep passion for artificial intelligence and data analytics, Victoria pursued a master's degree in data analytics and technologies at the University of Greater Manchester, UK. There we are. She currently serves as a healthcare analyst at Positive Care Solutions, where she leverages AI-driven analytics to improve patient care, boost operational efficiency, and support informed healthcare decision-making. Victoria is also the founder of Victory Inspired AI Analysis, an initiative dedicated to exploring how AI can harness to enhance motivation, mental well-being, and ethical business intelligence. Through her work, she aims to bridge the gap between AI, healthcare, and personal development, ensuring that technological advancement continues to serve humanity in purposeful and ethical ways. These are her area of expertise: AI-driven insight and data analytics, predictive modeling, and ethical solutions. Victoria is passionate about using AI to drive meaningful impact, and she's always open to collaboration and opportunities that align with this mission. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Victoria Ekweani.
Wow, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited with that introduction. Thank you all. And I hope we are all enjoying today's sunny day. It's a great opportunity to be among us. And a great thanks to Prof for always making the research happening. You know, honestly, I love the theme of this. It says research kitchen. You know, among all of us, you know what happens in the kitchen. When you go to the kitchen to cook, you have so many things. First, you have an idea of what exactly you want to cook. Then you get in your ingredients. Then it turns out, if you're a good cook, then you enjoy your food afterwards. But if you don't like cooking and you cook whatever you have, then it will come out bad. So at this point, let me share my screen and let's dive into what I have from my own kitchen. Please let me have a reaction, a thumb up or something if you're seeing my desktop.
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we are here to discuss bridging the gap between AI, healthcare, and personal development. These three things, AI, healthcare, and personal development, for me, there is a connection between three of them. Like we can see from the slide you're seeing, these are set of professionals. You know, everybody looking for a gap, or already you've gotten your own gap to fill. Everybody is busy with their daily work. Everybody is busy doing their research. You know, everybody is busy with their daily activities, which is fine. Everybody has purpose. We all have dreams and we have opportunities to achieve our dreams. But to be frank, let me just tell us that we are very lucky to be in this environment, especially knowing Prof. Because I can remember 2 years ago when I was doing my master's, who studied degree in the University of Greater Manchester. At a point, I was confused when it comes to my dissertation, the topic I'm supposed to pick. I was highly confused. I was just not sure of how to narrow down exactly what I wanted to do at that point. So here comes this idea too. You know, some of us, we should not take for granted any opportunity we'll see or we have to learn. I can remember I was able to grab my project topic, my dissertation from a show, a talk, a research, a webinar like this, when Prof invited the voting council to the university. So at the point of, going through, listening to the speaker, it just clicked. I say, yes. At this point, I knew I just got what I wanted to say. And from there, my happiness starts. You know, there's this joy that comes within us when you're doing something you love doing, when you're doing something you desire to do, it comes with a great happiness. So until you get that, like Prof always say, if you have a dream, just keep doing your research, keep looking for it. One day it will click. And once it clicks, you know that, yes, my joy starts now. So without further delay, let's run into what I have for us today. Today, I'm going to do a little presentation on introduction of bridging the gap between AI, healthcare, and personal development. The gap we must bridge, why this matters, the key pillar to bridging the gap, the practical innovation that's already in existence, the barrier to overcome, the vision for the future, the promise within us. Let's move ahead. For me, it's all about, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. For me, it's all about AI. AI is the in thing now. And to be frank, the level and the speed AI is going is amazing. Just 2 years ago, I did my master's. We didn't have this AI revolutions now. It's at speed. The level at which AI is moving is what everybody keying into it. It's what everybody knowing more about AI. It's what everybody looking for gaps. We are all here, yet for a purpose. We are all students. What are we doing for personal development? All of us wants to get better. You want to be better than what you are today. You are looking for something. Have you actually found that thing you're looking for? And for you to find that thing you're looking for, that means you need a gap. You're looking for a gap to fill. Until you get that gap, until you find that gap to fill, I don't think you will be satisfied anyway, if I call it that way, on exactly what you're doing. So for me, I love this formal definition of AI. Say artificial intelligence is the capacity of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. We should mark that word, intelligent human behavior. Often through processes like reasoning, learning, and self-corrections. Me personally, I love this definition of AI. Meaning that this AI is something that comes within us. Is what is in us that we instruct this AI to do. And this AI, when we give a good instruction, or we do a good job, a good analysis on what we want the AI to do, that means internally we'll be happy. You'll be less stressed. Your mental state will be in order. You will lack anxiety. There won't be anxiety, there won't be stress. You'll be happy with yourself. Then that means personal development. You're happy in what you are doing. And then using that technology, then humanity, it will serve humanity in a meaningful way. That is just the aim of this. For us to understand that AI is a catalyst for our personal development. In this era of world now, in this era we are, if you just want to live a fulfilled life, if you just want to be happy, less stress, your mental state in order, I think there is need for all of us to find a gap in AI to fill. It is very, very important. We are professionals, we are students, we are all here to learn. And a learning process it just continues. There's always a gap to fill. There's always a gap to fill. I can remember those days in class when Prof was teaching us. He was teaching us about if you know you're doing something and you just have only, he said, if you know you have only one source of income, you're like a moving trailer waiting for accidents to happen. And at that point, he asked Victoria, what else can you do if, apart from this study you're doing? I said, I know I can make hairs, I can braid hairs. He said, how much have you gained? How much have you got in sinks? How much have you earned through making that hair? At that point, it got to me that it's not about graduating. It's about graduating with options. If we actually graduate and things happen, what are your options? So for me, we are very lucky to be in the midst of AI. For me, if you're in science or you're a science student, they'll say, what is a catalyst? A catalyst is a substance that quickens the rate of a reaction. You know, me, I'm taking AI as a catalyst, even in our health institutions. When I mean health institution, I mean our hospitals, our pharmacies, even coming down with our personal health. I am more concerned about our personal health because what comes outside comes from inside. If we are full of depression, if you're full of anxiety, if you're not certain about ourselves within us, it will definitely affect our personal development. And in the same way, if our personal development, we are not sure of our personal development is being affected, that means our health will be affected. And that means it's a poor input from the AI, from our analysis, from whatever we are doing. So coming to healthcare, nowadays AI it have been used in so many ways to personalize treatment that tell us to individual needs. AI has been used for predictive analytics, for early detection of diseases, it's been very, very awesome. AI also has been used to prevent measures to maintain health. Now, yes, we have all those tools in place in our health sectors. Now, as a human being, ask me, Victoria, how are these AIs? How is it helping me to learn more about myself? Have we think of how our health data can simultaneously help us to learn more about ourselves? How your smartwatch, how your smartphones, the AIs in these smartphones, have you think of how these smart tools you are using can help us know more about ourselves, help us know I'm feeling this way, and if this does not happen, if I don't watch it this way, this might happen. Then how also do we think that this AI is helping us for our self-improvement? Do we think, do we have we have a thought of using this AI, this vital science that guides meditation practices, the algorithms, how they can use it, how we can use it to track meditation? About how we feel, our approaches. Some of us that are in health sector, all this, maybe the old people you're looking after, the younger ones you're looking after, or the kids you're looking after. How do you think we can use AI to connect to, seeing somebody and you say, today this person is laughing too much. I think after this laugh, there is something, it's not really a good laugh. After this laugh, this person is up to something. These are the things we know that AI can help us do, and is achievable, and people are doing it. Let's move to the gap we must bridge. Yes, coming to AI. AI is advancing rapidly, but let's ask ourselves question. Is it advancing with purpose? We need to deal with insufficient content. Like seriously, we need to deal with it. We are all professionals. We are all students. We are, we want to fill a gap. We want to learn something. We want to achieve something in life. For us to feel happy about ourselves, for us to have this personal development accomplishment within us. But when we don't get it right from the origin, from the beginning, there's going to be a problem. And that's where I am concerned. That's where my focus, my research comes in. In computer is about garbage in, garbage out. It's what you put in that what is going to determine the output. Now, individually, we are professionals. There was something that happened sometime in February this year. There was this news about a storm, heavy wind in Bein, that students should not go to school because it's going to be there are a lot of trees that's going to fall there, so that a lot of accidents, just to prevent that. So me personally, as a caring mother, I ran my kids' schools, and it was too early anyway. They didn't pick up, so I have to write them drop an email for them that I'm sorry, my kids are not turning into school today because there's this news of storm in Bein, and I'm scared and I can't let them go out today. To my ultimate surprise, the teachers rang me later and said, please, I'm sorry, there is nothing like that is going to happen, because they keep saying it, and please, can you bring the kids back to school? Now it was done on me that I think it was our professionals like us that did that analysis, that did the predictions, that forecast into the future with all the tools, with all the algorithms, with all the data, and came to that point that no, we feel something is going to happen and people need to be careful about it. Now, we are doing all these things to serve humanity, using the AIs, using everything that those people that did those particles, those analysis did. It's just to serve humanity. But now, what was the result? It was a negative impact. Because to be frank, that day, there was no wind. The weather was okay. So I began to ask myself, what went wrong? Was it that the people that did that analysis, they didn't get it right? Or what actually was it? They were not sure of their data? Or was it that somebody manipulated the data? Or does it mean that they were not sure of what they're supposed to do? Now, that got to me that actually, to bridge this gap, we need to be sincere to ourselves. We need to be very frank about our data, because it's how we gather our data. The quality of our data determines the output of what we serve to humanity. You can imagine the anxiety, the stress this thing cost me that money, because I was scared about my kids going to school. I was scared about, what is going to happen? And you can imagine, had it been my kids finally did not go to school that day, it will affect their personal development. So that's where my research comes in, to bridge that gap between AI. Because when we bridge the gap, when we bridge a negative impact, a negative gap, when we get a sufficient content, there is integrity in what we do, then I think health-wise, we'll be happy. When I'm talking of, when sometimes when we hear about healthcare, it's about, maybe you start thinking about NHS or no. Healthcare starts from us. It starts from you, your health, your mental state. When you are happy, we are less stressed. You have a more input in whatever you are doing than when you are stressed. So coming from us now, I want us to examine, monitor ourselves, to make sure that before we go into any research, our mental state is stable. We all have one or two things, bugging us in life, yes. But when it comes to this profession, when we come to our studies, our research, we should know that we are doing this for humanity. We are doing this because this is going to help somebody today, tomorrow. And also, we should know that we are doing this because we love to do it for our personal development. This will lead us to somewhere tomorrow. Healthcare system has done a lot of efficiency. We know that in healthcare using AI. But in those things, have we ever used any of them? Are they actually built with empathy? Or you feel that the people that did this app, they just did it just to make the money. But there is no connection. You don't feel that connection between the app and yourself or your situation. Nowadays, personal development tools are growing rapidly, like fire. It's just growing. But we ask ourselves, yeah, they are growing, but are they personalized enough? And all these things comes from us. It comes from the kitchen. It comes from we. So I think this gap needs to be filled because there should be a difference between we that have abandoned everything, that say we are professionals, we are research students. There should be a difference between what we are doing, to somebody in Bolton market selling fruits. Or likewise, my girl's teacher that told me, no, Miss Victoria, I'm sorry, nothing like that is going to happen. It's just a news, it's not going to happen. But when we get our data correct, when we bridge that gap, there is a gap, there is something that makes that teacher to say, no, it's not going to happen. And over time, that thing she believes in has proved her right that it's not going to happen. And especially that day, it still proved her right that nothing was happening and nothing happened. But I think when we get things right, when we get our data right, when we get our analysis right, I think we'll bridge that gap of them not believing in us. We should bridge the gap of we telling somebody in Bolton market there is going to be inflection. There is going to be, somebody in trading that from the trade analytics, you have to do this, do that, and they will believe it. They will believe in our analysis and not saying, forget them. That forget them is a gap. We must fix it. There is a gap there too. What is making them not to say, forget them? It's not going to be real. That means there is a gap that me and you, we need to fix. Let's move on. Why this matters? This matters because this is our calling. This is our profession. This is what we want to do. This matters because we are here to serve humanity. We've chosen this path. We've chosen this path. Not probably because of the financial benefit of it, but there's something like you're doing something you like. There's this joy that comes with it. Whether financially is beneficial or not, but you see yourself doing exactly what you want to do, what you find joy, what you get joy doing. Even without eating, you look very healthy and beautiful. You look very, very healthy because whenever you're doing that, you're fulfilled. You're happy doing it. So why I'm concerned about bridging this gap is because technology is here to empower us and not to overwhelm us. For us to see technology, AI, as something that we can't just believe, we can't just trust, that means it's raising a mental concern, a mental health concern on us, and it's not supposed to be like that. That means it's going to increase anxiety and stress. No, AI, like I always say, AI is a catalyst. And a catalyst quickens the rate of our creation. If we use AI very well, it will make our life easy. It will make our studies easy. It will make our self-development faster. And it also make us to graduate with options. We need that. And for us to achieve all these things, we need to start getting it right from the origin, from the day one, from the first day, from the first data we gather. We need to get it right. There should be integrity in whatever we are doing. Healthcare burns out resources and strength. Yes, healthcare professionals, they are overworked, and with the help of, and they have limited resources to manage patient care. Now, with these limited resources, where there's AI in it, AI should be a sort of, if there should be a more efficiency in using these tools. And not after using these tools, then there will still be a gap. One thing I love with education is also is that, there's always a gap to fill, and it's a continuous process. We'll keep looking for that gap. Everybody, even in what I am presenting now, you can still find a gap. In this gap I am looking for. That is life. That is what makes us, researcher. That's what makes us, professionals. Trying to make things better. People got it to this level we are now. So we should move it, we should move further to make it better. That is just my concern. When we are using AI, we should use it with compassion. Avoid using AI just mainly for conveniences. Yes, other people can use it for conveniences anyway, but for we researchers, for we students, for we educationists, we should know the meaning of using AI. That whatever we are, still just be within us that if I'm doing this research, I'm not just doing it just to pass my dissertation, just to pass my studies. No. Let's have it that whenever we are doing this research, we are using these tools, we are doing it to serve humanity. And serving humanity, it should be in a very meaningful way. Let's move on to the key pillars to bridge the gap. Human-centered AI design. Like what I've been saying, we have to prioritize ethics, empathy, and equity. AI is the in thing, but still, I believe some people don't still believe in AI. A lot of people don't still believe in AI. A lot of people don't still, it's very hard now if you want to be efficient in whatever you're doing without applying AI in your daily life. It makes life more interesting to live. It makes your work, even in the office, sweet. But still, some people don't believe it maybe because of their background, whatever ethics they believe in. But with time, AI, there's no way they can avoid it. And they can only believe this if if there's transparency. If there's transparency in our algorithms, in what we are doing. When we are building those health and well-being apps, let there be transparency. Let there not be manipulations of data so that you just, let me just do it, let me just submit, let me just do it and graduate. When you're graduating, are you graduating options? Are you sure when you're graduating, you want to rush in and rush out? Then are we rushing out to where? But I think bridging this gap, when we are getting it right from the first time, it will help us sincerely to be happy. It will help our mental state. It will help our personal development. Collaborative ecosystem, ensuring partnership within technologists, healthcare professionals. I also always believe in teamwork. I always believe in networking. We can't just do it alone. Like Prof used to say in those days in school that there is nothing you will see, this is my vision, this is a dream, like it's just coming from me alone. Nobody else have, no. go on internet, you see that thing you just woke up to say, let me put this in practice. Somebody has been doing it already. Then how does it make a difference? It will make a difference when you now hit in your own gap to fill it up. When you have something to fill it up with, that makes it personalized. That means, yes, you're not serving humanity. But in doing this, let's not be selfish about it. Let's be open. Let's network. Let's connect. If you're a healthcare specialist, connect with psychologists, experts in personal development. Ask them about their view in what you're doing, so that there will be transparency, so that you know that your algorithms are right. You got it right from the first go. Personalized health being. Is that what I'm saying? For me, AI is my catalyst. I mean it. AI is the catalyst. Whatever we want to achieve, AI is there to make us get it right. Whatever we want, whatever level we want to get, AI is there to help us to get it. Now, our concern is, are we getting it right? Are we getting it right from the start? Our analysis, are they okay? Our coefficient factors, are they okay? Do we know what we are forecasting? Are we just doing it just to get off from the university, just to have the certificate, just count it? Or are we doing it with passion for our personal development? There should be a continuous feedback or a loop, like a growth within us. Real-time data should be, we should cherish, we should go. See, whenever we are going on our research, please, we need sincerity on this. Let's be sincere about our analysis. If you're not sure of something, please fill that gap by asking, looking for professionals, asking people, what do you feel about this? This is what I'm researching. This is what I want to get, but it's not too clear. I'm not too convinced on this. Can you help me with this, and this? Let's be open, let's network, let's connect. Because it will make our data correct, it will make our analysis perfect, it will make people out there, like my daughter's teacher, it will make her to believe, yes, they said I know there was this forecast before, there is going to be a storm, and actually that's happened. So you need to believe in us. We can't just go all these routes, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years in the uni, doing research and learning, and when we go out there, somebody cannot believe even our analysis. They will say, forget them. It's just one of those things. Why I'm concerned is just one of those things. No, what is making it just one of those things? It means there is a gap. There is a gap. And what is causing that gap? Let's move on. Yeah, like what I said, in real world now, we have, a lot of things, a lot of AI tools are there to help us to monitor our healthcare. Empathic, 24 hours. But some of them you have to pay to have access to them. Then you ask yourself, somebody that is passing through depression, or somebody that just needs motivation, or somebody that does need meditation, and you don't have that money to offer. So that means it's off you. What are the alternatives? How do we bridge that gap if we actually need something to help us health-wise and we don't have that money to pay for it? What are any option? Do we have any option? Is there any option present? I've not seen that option. So where my interest lies is in the wearable and behavioral insights. In this way, I want my Apple smartwatch, I want my smartphones to be able to dictate my routine, my daily routine, my behavioral routine, insights. Look, I don't know whether it happens to some people, but for me, one day I will just wake up and say, today looks like sometime a day before, or something like that. I know that this particular thing I'm doing today, I've done it sometimes last year. Is it that the world is going round or what? It happens to me. We have to be more sensible, to ourselves, because I know it comes from in out. Have you tracked your behavior? Have you tracked yourself, your circle within you? Like, oh, almost every like 2 hours, I'll have that desire to go and drink water or talk to somebody or do some certain things. You think it's just like, okay, you are human, is one of the activities. But we have AI now to help us track those things. We have AI to help us, put more insight in our behavior, how we behave, more consciousness. When we need our quiet time, when we need to withdraw from the crowd, when we need to come out, when we need to track what is happening within us, even with people. Yes, it's possible. Now, AI also has helped us. There's also a tool, also, yes, customized for growth journey. But all these things, are they the basics on personality and habits? All these things are already on a start. There's somebody, people are always, if you research about these things, it's always about, when you research this thing, you know that there's also something I can put in. There's a gap that I need to fill in. And that's where all of us stands now. If you think at this age, at this level of education, you've not gotten, you've not known the gap you want to fill. I think you need to keep searching, keep talking to yourself, use AI, use it. There's always a gap. There's always a gap. As students, our main goal for our personal development is trying to fill a gap. You will see, you'll be the happiest in life when you know that, wow, there is something here and I need to fix it. I have been a support person all my life. And I get that joy from, helping people, and they give me that smile. I'm very happy about it. And that's what makes us to use our technology to serve humanity in a meaningful way. Now let's go to the vision for the future. All of us, we are seeking for a better future. We want a better future for humanity. Then how are we getting it? How are we working towards it? Are we being very selfish about it? Or do we have open-minded? Are we open-minded? Can I walk to you tomorrow and say, I have this idea. I have this idea. What is your contribution? Will you be open-minded? Will you be very frank about helping me out to do my analysis? To say, yeah, I think you do it this way, even from my own professional angle, I think you can do this and this and this. Can we be too open and connected to help ourselves to do this? AI enhance human care. AI support and enhance human care without replacing it. There is no way AI. Some people will say, yes, AI wants to come and replace our job, replace the. No, AI is not replacing anything. AI just wants us to look smarter, to behave smarter. AI is helping us. I always say AI is my catalyst. I mean it. I wish we have all these tools, this level of AI now. When 2 years ago that I was doing my master's, it makes life easy. It's sweet. It makes life very easy. It makes reading interesting. I can build my reading table. If you leave me for 24 hours without getting tired, because what? I'm getting smart results from AI. It's helping me positively. It's helping my mental state. It's helping my personal development. So that's why we should fill the gap. You can imagine if I can be on the system for 24 hours without even knowing that I've not eaten. very happy doing what I am doing is because there is a positive impact. The people that did that app I was using, there was transparency. The data was right, the algorithms was right, and that was why it's helping me. It's helping me. It's helping my personal development. It's helping my mental state. But when we don't find that gap to fill, when we think, oh, we are just here to graduate. I have a friend that say, I want to just become a professor so that they'll be calling me doc. That's it. That's his own point of view. Then you can imagine with that kind of mindset, now he is to do a research or she is to do a research. He's made people just for them to call him doc. I just want to be a professor. I want people to address me as a doctor. So if there is no transparency, if there is no integrity in what we are doing, finally it's going to affect human beings. It's going to affect humanity, and in a very negative way. And that is not our aim. Our aim is to impact humanity in a positive way, using the AI tools we have now. Proactive health system, participate need and support mental health. I've said it. How we use our AI will help our mental state. And I don't even advise, all of us, yeah, when you're stressed up, when you have one or two things you're struggling with, I don't think it's the right time for you to read. I don't think it's the right time for you to oh, I have an assignment to pass tomorrow. I have my dissertation to pass tomorrow. You start with all those things on your head. You start doing analysis. No, that would be a disaster. So why I'm saying this is little things that matters. When we go into our kitchen, when we go into our research kitchen, please, can we get the ingredients correct? Can we know the quality of seasoning, of salt? Can we get things in order earlier enough before the cooking starts? Adopting personal development, tools in life that can help us. AIs are there to help us, not to distract us. We get distracted when we don't start in time to prepare what we are going to cook. When we don't start in time to buy your ingredients, when we don't start in time to prepare, to check, do I still have enough gas? Do I still have this? Do I still have this? When we come to the late hour, then we'll rush things. And when we are rushing those things, we should have in mind that it's going to be a bad output. And that output can affect somebody in need tomorrow, somebody in need of a stability of what he or she is going through, can go jump into that your research and it will get worse. So what's the essence of we doing research? We going through these studies for 2 years, 3 years, and will come out without a positive impact on people, on the society. Now, for my concern is, what can we do today? What am I doing today? All of us are in different fields. We have different things to do. We have different visions and missions. Now, if we are in technology industry, can we design with empathy? Like we say AI imitates intelligent human behavior. That means we must be intelligent. And for us to be in this level, up to this level state, that means we are intelligent. There is no two ways about it. So this intelligence show in our analysis. Let it show at the output of whatever we are doing, whatever research we are doing. Let's try to fill those gaps so that somebody like my daughter's teacher will not say, don't just mind them. They always say that, but it never happens. Now, if you're in healthcare, let's advocate for AI literacy. Let's just advocate that AI should be used in the right way. Let's advocate that the AI for health the algorithm should be correct. Let's be mindful that we are serving humanity. Let's be mindful that if I get my data wrong, it has a very negative impact. It will have a very negative impact on people. Then you ask yourself, then how does that help me to develop personally? Nothing. Then, if we are in personal development, can we integrate data responsibly? That's the same thing I'm saying about our integrity. Integrity matters in whatever we do. Let not just be that, yeah, we are just here to mark out time, take any dissertation topic we have, or whether you have interest in it or not, let's just do it and graduate. Also have the opinion that when you are graduating, are graduating with options? Let's ensure that when we are graduating with options, because a lot of things happen, life happen. So that you won't go through all this process. We can't go through all this process, going through the kitchen all day long, gathering ingredients, things to cook. Then at the end, when we dish it out, they say, who did this? Who cooked this? It's tasteless. And that has a lot of way to affect us mentally. It has a way to affect our personal development. You just call it a quit. I am done with this. But when we get it right from the origin, when we get it right, we will feel very happy. We will feel very fulfilled. Then we will always want to develop more. That is developing ourselves in positive ways. AI technology is something that I think that will make us to be connectors. It will make us, there should be a connection. Like what I'm saying now, okay, you building an app and you are not sure of the transparency of the content of your data. You've seen the connection of how it's going to affect somebody's mental state somewhere. Somebody might be passing through something and seeing that your app, seeing that your algo, seeing that product or project from you, it can make the person feel better or feel more worse. So it's not just about we graduating. It's not all about we doing this. When we are doing, please, let's be conscious of, I'm saving people. I'm saving humanity. I'm doing this for humanity. That means for you to be doing it for humanity, you need to love what you're doing. We need to love what you are doing. So like what I'm saying, if there's this convergence within AI, healthcare, and personal development, then healthcare becomes a partner for lifetime flourishing. Technology will now amplify human capacity without diminishing agency.
So many times.
Then our personal growth will integrate with our physical and mental well-being.
What's the talking to?
Then collectively, our health intelligence will serve the fulfillment of human potentials. So I always like this quote from Mark. He said, technology is best when it brings people together. For us to be here means we have common interests. And we are here to discuss how AI in different ways, in many ways, can help us serve humanity in a meaningful way. So as we do this journey of filling the gap, we all look for gaps to fill. Let's be conscious that we need to fill this gap with integrity. Let there be transparency in whatever we are doing. At this point, I'm saying thank you for this opportunity, and let's stay connected. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for that brilliant insight. We have been motivated today. So I don't know, does any of us have questions for our speaker this morning? Any questions?
Let's take only one because of time.
Okay. Let's have it.
You have a question too. Okay.
All right. Good morning, Victoria. What a beautiful presentation. I appreciate it personally. You'll be talking about how we can take advantage of AI in our working place and all that. And bear in mind the complexity in the AI and couple of things around it. So a way to simplify it, I actually want you to tell us, how do you apply AI in the health sector where you are currently working? What are the areas of application? What are the little tasks given to you? And how do you practically apply it in your areas of profession at the moment, right now?
Okay, thank you very much. How I'm applying AI, sometimes they will tell you AI, don't apply AI in, okay, especially when it comes to studies anyway. And they say don't write with AI, don't do this with AI. I presently am dealing with young people, you understand? And these are people that has traumas, a lot of traumas. So how I'm applying AI is in this form, that I take analysis of their behaviors each day. Now, with the help of AI, like I said, there's already AI innovation on it's a AI chatbot, like workbots, on people with their what's it called? How will I call it? Emotions, people undergoing depressions. Do you understand? I allow them to use those apps. Using those apps, you'll be able to dictate. Yes, sometimes you see, even fellow staffs, you see people laughing. You think they are just being happy. No. Some laughters are not happiness. So when I introduce those AI to them, it will help me read exactly, have a there's what's called a character train, or the train analysis of each person. If you watch the train analysis, that at a point, sometime this last week, this person behaved like this person did this, and you think everything was okay. Then at the end, there was a trigger. There was self-harming. There was this result. There was a suicide attempt. Do you understand? So we introduced those AI tools for them, to them. It will help me as a healthcare analyst to actually analyze deeply, even with their behavioral insights. Do you understand? What exactly am I expecting from this character? What exactly is this person going through deeply? And it has not failed. It has not failed. And for me to be able to do that means that I've used those tools on myself. I've used those tools on myself. I have tried to, study my behavior insights. And I never knew this if not because of AI. Now, when I was using those things, now I feel there's this gap there that we need to talk about. And this gap starts from the origin, from when you're getting your data, the level of integrity of your transparency when you're doing that. Even on your own today, I challenge you. On your phone, you have smart apps on your phone. Go to them. Just use it judiciously to track your behavior, your insights for the day. Then use it on the people around you, your kids, your husband. You will see it's something very exciting to do. You will see at a point you can easily dictate. If it's my after they say is a prophet, you're not seeing anything. It's just your analysis. It's just AI helping you to think smarter. You know, at every point in life, every point in time, this person has been behaving this way. And I think the next thing is this, or this, if this does not happen, if I don't distract this person from this at this point of time, if I don't get anything, a therapy to distract this person at this point of time, this person is going to self-harm. This person is going to behave this way. Do you understand? Or you're going to go into depression. So, like me, to be frank, I don't think I can pass a day without AI. AI is a I keep saying it is a catalyst. If that's why we need to collaborate, that's why we need to connect. If you're in any field or you're doing something and you think you've not still gotten that impact of AI in what you're doing, let's collaborate, let's connect. You will see it. And once you get it, once you feel it, when you get it, you know that study is very interesting. AI has really done enough for us. I know those days when we are doing our research, just 2 years ago, Andrew Parker would say, you have to read 20 journals. Prof will come and say, read 100 journals. Go to Google Scholar. Get this. Oh my, I was stressed. It was overwhelming. But with the help of AI, reading is sweet. Reading is awesome. I'm not saying, I'm not saying you go and carry it. We have to, yes, that woman part, we need to input it, but AI will help you think. It helps me think smarter. It helps me think smarter. I mean it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for that wonderful one. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
What stood out for me is that we need to fill the gap. And the gap we need to fill in building our AI is that of transparency, integrity, and trust.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We are glad for having you with us. So
Thank you.
Up next, we have Dr. Chinedu Pascal, who is going to be taking us into AI in law and energy, transforming legal practices and oil and gas operation. Dr. Pascal.
Oh, sorry, I've shared the wrong thing. I have to. Okay, yeah, I think. Yeah, so you see my slide. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I want to introduce you.
Oh, you're still introducing me. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay,
So
go ahead, please.
Biography about Dr. Chinedu. Sorry for that.
Mm-hmm.
He is a business analyst, lecturer at the School of Computing, Engineering and Technology, Robert Gordon University. He has PhD in computer engineering, MNG in computer engineering, software and systems engineering precisely, and obtained a PhD in engineering, specializing in autonomous artificial intelligence from the University of Aberdeen, where he worked as a postdoctoral research fellow before joining IGN. Recognized as a global talent in AI by Royal Academy of Engineering, UK, in 2022. Pascal has developed practical experience with several industrial and interdisciplinary research projects involving the successful application of AI with businesses, including companies such as BP and ANSA Data Analytics UK. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping ovation.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. So I'm going to share my screen to be sure we are all seeing what I'm going to present. Hope you can see the slide. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. So I will be talking on AI in law and energy, transforming legal practices and oil and gas operations. So as I've been introduced, I'm Pascal Ezenkwu, a lecturer at the School of Computing Engineering and Technology here at Robert Gordon University. So a little bit more about myself. So I have PhD in engineering, focusing on autonomous artificial intelligence from the University of Aberdeen. After which I continued to work as a research fellow. During my research fellowship, I supported British Petroleum in developing an AI toolkit to support their process safety. And I also supported another company that is based here in Aberdeen, which is Answer Data Analytics Limited, in automating their process of well log analysis. So I'm going to talk about this case study in the course of this presentation. So now at Robert Gordon University, I teach, I'm a lecturer in business analytics at the School of Computing, Engineering and Technology, as I've said before. And I actively research in AI and machine learning and belong in a research group called AI and Reasoning Research Group, which we abbreviate as AIR. So I'm also the school's business engagement lead. And also I could teach, support the School of Law and Social Sciences in teaching legal tech, so focusing on data and AI techniques in law. And I think that's one of the reasons why I feel I'm the right person to tell you about AI applications in law. All right, so these are the things we are going to cover. So we talk about AI in oil and gas, and we'll present a few case studies to demonstrate some of those application areas. And then we'll talk about AI in law with some case studies as well. And we know that AI will increasingly get integrated into human environment. So it's a social technical system. There is a need to focus on responsible and ethical applications of the technology. So we'll talk about some of those as well in this presentation. So we've seen artificial intelligence develop from what we call rule-based AI. Rule-based AI are those AI algorithms that the human developer has to provide all the knowledge they need to solve a task. So you have to write what we call production rules, if-else statements, to instruct AI exactly how to solve a problem. And that we've seen that develop from that, seen AI develop from that to classical machine learning algorithms that what they need from us are just data. So once we put data and passing data into them, they are able to learn from that data, identifying patterns and learning structures within the data, and can help us to engage in predictions, anomaly detections, and all those. Now we see generative artificial intelligence, which is capable of generating original content, such as images, videos, audios, and text that can, pass Turing tests, basically. And so we've seen these developments. And what machine learning or AI does is if we put in raw data into it, it has the capability of doing pattern recognition and learning a model from that data. So this model can help businesses to make informed decisions about their products and services. And some of those values that machine learning and AI can add to business application include things like descriptive analytics that is telling a business from their data what had happened in their previous kind of engagement. It can also be used for diagnostic analytics, telling them why did a particular thing happen. And we also have predictive analytics, which is quite popular, forecasting or telling us about the future based on historical data. And we also have prescriptive analytics. This is not just about forecasting about the future, but telling us what to exactly do to steer the future in the direction we want it to go. So a business wants to achieve a particular goal, and then there are decision variables that AI can tell you how to fine-tune those decision variables in order to arrive at any goal you want to achieve. So that is prescriptive analytics. And so every business generates two categories of data. So there are data that come from their supporting services, things like finance, human resources, IT, marketing. And across industries, this data can be relatively generic, right? So the same way finance data is seen maybe in health could be similar to how it is seen in energy, could be similar to how it is seen in the legal sector, right? The same thing applies to human resources. But beyond this generic data, there are data that come from the core value generating processes within the organization. In the case of oil and gas, the process of drilling is their core industrial process. In the case of law, the process of legal research is their core activity. And these activities generate a lot of data. And what businesses want to do is to look for how to apply artificial intelligence and machine learning on those core value generated data, domain-specific data, to improve their processes in terms of efficiency, productivity, and also help them to design strategies in order to keep winning in that industry. And that is what we'll be looking at, but focusing on just two sectors, which are energy and law. So in terms of energy, we are going to be specifically looking at oil and gas, and then we'll look at law and look at several applications in this industry. So I will kick off with the energy industry. So for those who do not understand how the energy industry is arranged, the oil and gas industry is arranged, there are two major sectors within the oil and gas industry. So we have the upstream sector, which focuses on the process of searching for and obtaining crude from the subsurface. So before any oil and gas company goes into drilling or the process of drilling, they need to search for search for crude from the subsurface. Then we have the midstream. The midstream is the process of conveying these products from the point of drilling to where they will be refined. And what happened at the refining stage is what we call it is the downstream sector, where these products are further refined. That is, different components such as kerosene, diesel, and petrol, and all that, and including pharmaceutical products like butane and other hydrocarbons are extracted from crude. So that process is what we call the downstream sector, where the raw crude is converted into usable components. So these are the key major sectors within the oil and gas sector. And across this sector, huge amount of data are generated. So oil and gas sector is a massively data-rich industry. And that lends it makes it possible for us to apply artificial intelligence at large scale in supporting the sector. So for example, if you look at the midstream asset lifecycle, what we have here, if you can see my mouse, what we have here is what we call the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is what represents, that's what the fancy name, the people in oil and gas call the drilling system, right? The drilling system, they call it the Christmas tree. So after drilling, we have the crude on the subsurface. Crude is always a mixture of water, oil, and gas at different proportions. And then the major components are split. So we have a separator that splits them, the crude, into gas, oil, and water. So the water is not a product that goes into commercialization. So they use it for different purposes. They can use it and do what we call water injection to improve the performance of the reservoir. But the important products are gas and oil. In some cases, if the the oil and gas facility does not have very good plant for processing the gas. They may flare it. That is what results to gas flaring. And in terms of the oil and gas, if we look at the pipeline, this represents pipeline, and we have things like meter. So what the meter does is to measure the amount of oil that comes into the pipeline, or the amount of oil that goes out of the pipeline. And we have valves. Valves is used to control the flow rate of the oil along the pipeline. Okay, so sometimes the oil and gas company want to monitor the health of the pipeline. So what they will do is they install sensors, and what these sensors will do is to help them keep record of some of the properties that could measure vandalism of the pipeline, or corrosion, things like leakages on the pipeline. And that introduces what we call operational technology. So because no oil and gas company, we want to pay people to stand on the pipeline. This pipeline can, run through from continent to continent, from region to region. So it's long. So you can't pay people to stand on that. So what they use is they use technologies that can help them to monitor the pipeline from remote location. An example of these technologies includes something like the digital twin, or SCADA. So full meaning of SCADA is supervisory control and data acquisition system. But I'm going to pay more attention on the digital twin. I'm going to present some of our projects that are connected to the digital twin. And what the digital twin represents is, it is a virtual replica of a physical system. For example, we have the pipeline. A pipeline is a physical system. We may want to have a way of modeling the pipeline in our machine, so that whatever behavior that happens in the real world on that particular system, we can visualize it or see that simulated within our computer using artificial intelligence or 3D 3D modeling. So, and in the way digital twin can be categorized, so there are two major extremes in terms of what we call fidelity. There is high fidelity models, and there are low fidelity models. So high fidelity models are ones that we don't just want to capture the functional representation of the physical system. We want to also capture their geometric representation, the way they look like in real life. For example, this is a spring and damper system. So, and this is a digital twin representing that system in a virtual machine. So we capture both the geometrics and the animation of the physical system, as well as the functionality of the physical system. So this is what we call physics-based modeling, high fidelity digital twin. And we also have the low fidelity digital twin, where we don't care about the geometric representation or the animation. We don't want to look at those fancy things. We just want to be able to capture data that represents the behavior of the system, so that we can put that into machine learning models to help us predict things about that system. In the case of pipeline, maybe to monitor pipeline leakages or to monitor corrosion on the pipeline. So we are going to pay attention more on the data-driven modeling, because they are cheaper to run than the 3D modeling ones, and they have a lot of application beyond what you just having that fancy representation of the 3D system showing what the physical plant look like. And there is something in between the two of them we call physics-informed machine learning. So if you have been going through the literature, you can be seeing something like physics-informed neural networks, which combines both the physics of the physical system and the data being gotten from the physical system. It combines them in modeling the behavior of the system. And from reports in the literature demonstrate that this even perform far better than having the data-driven modeling. So we are not going to talk much about that. Our emphasis will be on the data-driven side. So just to concretize what I've said about the digital twin, especially what we said about data-driven one. So we have a pump. The pump is somewhere sitting on the oil and gas assets life cycle. And we want to monitor what happens at this pump. We've used our sensor data to develop a mathematical model, data-driven model of the pump. So whenever, and through a wireless network, the sensors installed in this pump send consistent measurement that represent the operating conditions of the pump. our model is capable of helping us to predict what the state of the pump is. And this could be useful in terms of predictive maintenance, informing us ahead of time what is going to happen to the pump if there is a potential failure of the oil and gas asset life cycle, so that we will be able to provide, early attention and trying to solve that the cause of that potential failure. So that is just to kind of demonstrate more what we mean by the digital twin. So I'm going to talk about some of the projects we've been involved in. So this is a project we undertook with ANSA. So we have John Guntoro. So then I was, at the time we conducted this project, I was a research fellow at Aberdeen University. So we had John Guntoro. John Guntoro was a PhD student then, but he has gone ahead to start working as a machine learning engineer with ANSA. Then we have Murillo Andario. Murillo Andario was the AI and software director at ANSA. So he was more or less like the industrial project supervisor. And we have Vahid Vasili, who was the academic project supervisor of that project. So Andrew Stuckey was my PhD supervisor and I was having my postdoctoral research and with him. So what we did for ANSA was we tried to automate the process of well-log pattern alignment. I'm going to explain this, and just to make it easier to understand, before an oil and gas company goes ahead to drill, drilling is a cost-intensive process. So it can cost millions of dollars to drill. So very cost-intensive. So no oil and gas company will go ahead and invest their money into drilling without knowing what they're going to get out of that process. So the first thing they do is to engage in the characterization of the subsurface to find out what is underneath the subsurface. That is the first thing they try to do. And how do they do that? What they do is they send in sensors into the subsurface. Okay, so some of these sensors will measure physical properties such as radioactive properties such as gamma ray, okay, track gamma ray radiation, gamma ray, or measure resistivity of the subsurface, maybe porosity of the rocks inside the subsurface, or some magnetic properties. And when they measure all these properties, so these are, we call those properties that have been measured, we call them logs. Okay, we have the gamma ray log, we have the resistivity log, the porosity log, and these are how they will look like when you load them into your computer. But there is a problem with this process of logging data from the subsurface. The problem is the problem of latency, because these different sensors that are used for measuring these physical properties, they do not have the same latency. Latency is the time it takes a sensor to respond to stimulus. That is what we call latency. So assuming let's assume, okay, for example, if we are using a sensor to measure what properties, maybe the gamma and the radioactive property at 50 feet in the subsurface. It may take the gamma ray sensor, we are at 50 feet, we want to know what happened at 50 feet. Maybe the gamma ray sensor now responds when this device you are kind of sinking into the borehole, that device, when it goes maybe up to 53, it responds when the device has gone up to 53 feet. But this is it recording the data at 50 feet. But it delays, so it captures it when it is at 53 feet. Now you come for resistivity, which has different material. Instead of recording it at 50 feet, it delays till that device, that sensor gets up to 60 feet. Maybe the porosity one records the measurement when it gets to 55 feet. So all of them are trying to measure 50 feet, but there are delays, different variation in the way they respond. Their response kind of delays differently. So for us to be able to interpret what happens at 50 feet, we must try to align this measurement to make sure that even though gamma ray is measuring 50 feet at 53 feet, and resistivity, the sensor is measuring 50 feet at 60 feet, we want to bring all these logs together to match them so that we can push up that 60 feet to align with the 53 feet of the gamma ray and porosity feet. All of them we align in depth, on depth. That's what we want to do. And that is a big problem for oil and gas companies, because they need to do this to interpret the log very well. it becomes a huge challenge. And what they do is they always have a geophysicist sit down on a computer in a software. We have software called TechLog, and sit down and manually try to look at the patterns. They are looking at the waves, and based on this wave, they manually adjust these logs to make them match. They will manually try to shift the logs to make them match. But the problem is, if you have different, maybe you have 10 geophysicists, they will produce different results because it's a subjective process. Another problem is it can be time consuming. It will take so much time. For example, if you have 1 million feet worth of data, it will take weeks to be able to complete that by a geophysicist. So it is time consuming, and that is the problem ANSA wanted us to help them address using artificial intelligence. And we looked up in the literature and we discovered that people have been doing research trying to solve this problem. And one of the methods that are quite profound in terms of this problem is convolutional neural network, 1D convolutional neural network. So people have been trying to use deep learning algorithms to solve the problem. But we discovered one problem some problems about them. One of the major problems is that they are data hungry. They require a lot of data to be able to model or train convolutional neural network to solve the problem. And it is not easy for a startup company that is just has few data to be able to train such deep learning models to solve the task. And I think you need a lot of digital infrastructure, cloud computing infrastructure. You need high performance computers to be able to train deep learning models. And because these people are serving clients, so you provide them, you say, okay, I have matched your logs, all your logs, I've matched them. This is the output. There will be quality check by these companies. They want you to explain the idea behind matching them. But deep learning models are black boxes, so you don't understand how or what informs this matching. So you cannot explain it to the clients. So when we suggested doing the same thing to the answer team, they felt, so some of these questions arose, so we thought we are not going to apply deep learning models. So we decided to move ahead to look at what we call warping techniques. Okay, so warping techniques are kind of lightweight techniques and that can be applied on small amount of data. And we look at 3 types of warping techniques, what we call dynamic time warping, constraint dynamic time warping, and correlation optimized warping. And so this is an example of logs. For example, we have a survey. This is a gamma ray. So we want to adjust this gamma ray log to match on depth with this reference log. So that's what we wanted to do. And if you look at this data at your first inspection, you will see there is a huge problem here because they are not of the same scale. If you look at the scale of the amplitude here, it is less than 50 feet. And if you look at the amplitude here, sorry, not 50 feet, 50 gamma ray API. And if you look at this one, it is close to 150 gamma ray API. So which means they have different scales. And so we needed to do some pre-processing. We did filtering. We did normalization of each of those logs. So this is our workflow before we introduce them into the warping technique that we do the depth correction on the logs. So when we went ahead and applied, okay, so this is a toy explanation of dynamic time warping. This is the algorithm. So we are trying to use that to use these 5-point data points to explain how dynamic time warping works. But I'm not going to talk about this because of time, but if during the question time, someone wants me to come back to this, I'll be very happy to come back and explain it, all right? So when we apply dynamic time warping, so this is what dynamic time warping produces. The black plot represents what dynamic time warping is doing. The green plot represents what a geophysicist did manually, while the blue plot represents the survey log that we are trying to shift the depth so that it will match the reference log. Now, in reality, looking at what the geophysicists did, the biggest deviation between the survey log, after shifting the log, the biggest deviation between those 2 logs is 6 feet. That is what we see. So in reality, that is what we see. And that's what we think is more sensible in terms of the business metric. But when we apply dynamic time warping, so this is how it changed the data. Looking at this black plot, I hope you can see You can see my mouse. I'm trying to move my mouse to explain this. Hopefully, you can see my mouse. So this black one represents what dynamic time warping has done. And in terms of assessing how well it has done, if you look at this, you see that 1 unit of this plot is 1,000 feet. So if you see from one horizontal line to another is 1,000 feet, okay? That will tell you that the gap between the deviation between what dynamic time warping has done and the plot, that is the green line, that is what the geophysics has done, the deviation is close to 1,000 feet, which means that dynamic time warping was not doing a good job. It was distorting the data instead of shifting the depth. So it didn't do a good job. And what we did was we now look at what we call constrained dynamic time warping. So what constrained dynamic time warping does is it limits the extent of shift, the extent with which the algorithm will shift the logs. So it restricted, it restricts it, it put a kind of a constraint. Okay, so there are two methods there, which we have Sakochiba band and Itakura parallelogram. So we have these two methods, which we apply on our data. We see that Sakochiba band did a better job in restricting that distortion, while Itakura parallelogram didn't do much job in terms of that. But when we went ahead to evaluate this, we still noticed that this is not still as good as what the geophysicist has done manually. The deviation from what the geophysicist has done is also up to 150 feet, which is still huge. And that made us to look at another method called correlation optimized warping, which is, unlike the dynamic time warping, is a correlation-based algorithm, which is, so it has a lot of wonderful property, including shape preservation. But I'm not going to go into explaining that, but if that arises in the question, I will come back. This is the algorithm that explains how it works. So we'll come back to look at how it works. But when we applied it on this data, we see that what correlation optimized warping does now becomes really good and doesn't give us those huge deviation from what the geophysicist was doing. And when we have a closer look, so this is the data, how the original, the survey log compares with the reference log before we apply correlation optimized warping. And this is what happens. So the graph below is what happens after we have applied correlation optimized warping. But when we look at this zoomed one, we will notice how the logs have shifted. So the black one is the survey log. So if you look at the top one, you will notice that there is a gap between the blue plot. So if you look at the zoomed one, there is a deviation between the blue plot and the black one. But coming down to when we have applied correlation optimized warping, we see that correlation optimized warping did a good job in matching the two logs. And that is what solved that problem for ANSA. And we deployed the system. So I didn't talk much about some of the pre-processing that went and post-processing that went into the system. So we had what we call modified version of cow, which is different from the original cow. But I can't talk about some of those things because of intellectual property rights. And the tool was deployed into ANSA's proprietary software, and from the reports, so the thing has saved them hundreds of hours of manual processing weekly. So which is a huge improvement in the way they conduct their well log analysis job. So I'm going to talk about another project we did, which is about improving drilling efficiency using machine learning and optimization algorithms. So we use traditional machine learning, but we combine that with particle swarm optimization, which is a type of beta heuristic algorithm that could be used for optimization. And so the idea here is during drilling, when the drilling crew are drilling, one of the major challenges that they face is this issue of vibration. The tool may vibrate a lot, and during this vibration, a lot of things can go wrong. So it can impact the safety of the crew, it could impact the safety of the equipment, it can even damage equipment and stop the job from going on. So one of the things they want to kind of pay attention to, they look at how can we improve the rate of drilling without increasing vibration. So that is a big problem for every drilling crew. So we have Farouk Said, who led the project, and during the time of the project, he was a research fellow at Aberdeen University. Then I've joined Robert Gordon University. So he was a research fellow at Aberdeen University. But at the same time, he was a project manager at Sonatrach. Sonatrach is the national oil and gas company at Algeria. So he worked at Sonatrach for over 10 years, and during that period, he served both as a rig manager and a drilling engineer. So during the course of the project, we had opportunity to work with real-life facilities to support the project. So what we did was to develop a digital twin system that monitors drilling process and captures data every 9 meters down the borehole. So what we did is there are these two properties that measure the risk, drilling risk. And one of them is this thing called the stick slip index. So the stick slip index is what tells us the severity of vibration happening. If there's vibration happening during drilling, if SSI is high, that means it could be very severe and can cause a lot of damages. Okay, so we have this thing called depth of cut. So depth of cut measures how quickly the drilling equipment, go into the ground and crack through the rocks. So, and if that is also high, that means the equipment can also be in danger. So through our digital twin, what we did, we monitor some important parameters, which are weight on beat, rotation per minute, and flow rate. So we consistently monitor this using sensors. And then we fed those into machine learning models, which kind of help us to constraint under this. So we put a constraint because we are using an optimization algorithm. So we constraint the prediction on this, but our focus was to maximize rate of penetration. That is the rate at which the drilling happens. So by the end of the day, we had a lot of improvement when we tested this out on a real life project. So we discovered that the rate of penetration, that the rate of drilling increased by 43%. And in terms of drilling time reduced from 66 hours to 31 hours, which was a huge improvement. And this was subject to very safe drilling activity with stick slip index being less than 5%, showing low severity in terms of the vibration. There was no risk of any problem happening in terms of the safety of the crew and the safety of the equipment. Okay, so we had very minimized fluctuation, which was a huge success on this project, which we have on a Q1 journal. Okay, so that is about energy. So I'm going to go through AI in law and talk about some of the projects also that you can undertake under AI in law. AI in law is it's an area I'm developing at the moment. But I have been opportune to present lectures on AI, on legal tech, especially regarding artificial intelligence. So I'm going to share some of the things I found from the literature and our ongoing projects in this area. So whenever we talked about several algorithms, we mentioned algorithms in terms of application in energy. When these algorithms are applied on maybe legal data, then what we have is legal analytics. So we have machine learning algorithms applied on legal data. Then what we have is legal analytics. And legal analytics, there are different data types we can have under law. So we have case law. Case law can be textual data. Contracts can be textual data. Patents can be textual data. But sometimes patents may contain schematics or engineering drawings. Okay, so that is visual. So we can also, other kind of data that lawyers work with are evidences, and which can be physical evidence. If you go to a crime scene, you may want to observe things, carry out forensic within the crime scene to be able to support some of your, to put that as part of your evidence during the legal proceeding. So evidence can be visual, can be audio. Somebody may be at a scene where something happened and saying that I wasn't there. But if their voice is recorded, there's a way we can mine that voice and associate that voice with the person. So we also have evidence can also be textual. And legal firms are businesses, so they want to keep track of their financial records, which are numerical. And there are legal KPIs. So this KPI could be, you may be interested in what people are saying about you as a legal firm, or you may be interested in some kind of performance indicators, things like how many cases did we win this month? Okay, what is the percentage of our success in terms of legal proceedings? So these are the different kind of data types that are associated with legal analytics. And so we try to look at this based on the different analytics that can be conducted on these different types of data. So the legal data type, we have textual data. Textual data, as we said, can be associated with case law. And what do we do in terms of case law? What lawyers do when they have a case, you don't just go into that case unprepared, right? So to defend your client. The first thing you want to do as a lawyer is to go do what we call legal research. And legal research, what you do in legal research is you go to a legal database and you want to identify cases that are similar to your case. Based on those cases, you may go ahead to mine the argument within those cases to identify how the decisions were made about those cases. And that will help you to strategize on how to win your own case. Okay, some people may also do what we call case outcome prediction. Based on the jurisdiction of that situation, of that case, and the kind of lawyers or judges that will sit on that case, and other conditions surrounding the case, you can train a machine learning model that can predict if that case will be successful or not. And we also have, in terms of contract, what you may want to do in contract is you want to do what we call risk detection to know whether there is any risk associated with that contract before you sign it. And one thing people may want to do is to do what we call named entity recognition. So named entity recognition is where you want to identify important entities within a contract. These are like people. You want to know people involved in the contract. You want to know what their obligations are. You want to extract important dates from the contract. And what are these dates about? You want to extract where money is mentioned in the contract. Okay, so you want to extract things that are associated with the contract so that you have proper look, things you know that if I miss this thing in the contract and sign them, they may haunt me in the future. Another thing you may want to do is anomaly detection. How is this contract different from similar contracts? How is it different from similar contracts? So you can do change detection in that case. So another thing is in terms of patents. You may engage in semantics as someone applies for a patent. You may want to identify how this patent compare with existing innovations to ensure that this is not an incremental innovation, but it is a kind of can be classed as a novel innovation. So other things are physical evidence. You can use computer vision to kind of detect important things around a crime scene. Okay, so we talked about financial records. In terms of legal KPIs, a law firm may want to monitor what people say about them on social media. What are people saying about us? And some of them can go a little bit extra to find out not just about themselves, but about their competitors. And that is what we call competition analytics. To not just know just about yourself, you want to know about your competitors as well. And we also have audio data. So we talked about audio evidence. Somebody was accused to be at a crime scene, maybe in a party where a fight broke out. And this person said, I was not there. Okay. And it happened that the party was recorded. So there was voice recording of what happened in the party. Can we develop a model that can filter that person's voice and associate it successfully with the person? Okay. Speech recognition algorithms can be developed to do that. So we are going to look at just two case studies from all these things we've mentioned. The first one is in terms of legal information retrieval. So we are going to look at what we can do with AI machine learning to improve the process of retrieving legal information from a large repository for legal research. Another thing we look at is legal case strategy analytics. How do we use machine learning or AI to improve how we engage in legal case strategy and design? All right, so we are going to look at these two case studies, but there are a lot of case studies that involve the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning on legal data. So let us look at it. We are going to just use a very simple traditional machine learning model to explain it, to make sure that everyone will understand what we're trying to say. So as we said, what lawyers do when they have a new case, they kind of extract cases that are similar, and based on those similarities, they try to find out what to do about the case. So This is a collection of legal cases, so we consider this to be our legal case, our case repository. Okay, so a database of cases that have happened before. So we have a new case. So we use this thing called K-nearest neighbors algorithm, or KNN. And what K-nearest neighbors algorithm does is, when you have a new case, it is capable of finding all the cases that are similar to the new case. So if you, in this case, for example, if you're interested in just 2 cases that are similar to my new case, then your K becomes 2. So what you are filtering out are just 2 cases that are similar to your own case. If you're interested in just 5 cases that are similar to your new case, to the new case, then your K becomes 5. And that is what K-nearest neighbor algorithms do. And if you want to break that down, the first thing it does is you have a new case, we have a collection of cases. It will calculate the similarity between the new case and the collection of cases. So what it uses is this thing called similarity function. Similarity function, we put a number that shows similarity, how close is this new case to case A in the case repository, case B in the case repository. All the cases will be scored based on their similarity here. And the next thing it does, based on that score, it sorts the cases and select the K most similar case. K in this case, as I said before, can be 2 most similar cases, 5 most similar cases, 100 most similar cases, depending on what you want to do. But these are the 2 things that happen within K-nearest neighbor algorithm: score similarity, and then sort based on that score and select the K number of case most similar cases. But before we apply this, remember that legal cases are mostly textual, and the new case is mostly textual, right? Okay, they are all textual. We must think of a way of representing these cases in such that computer can do the similarity function. So most of the similarity function out there compute numerical values and not string. So we have ones that compute string, but majority of them, similarity functions are like something like Euclidean distance, cosine similarity, and a lot of Manhattan distance. So they are used for computing similarity. So before you can compute this similarity, you must represent these cases in a way computer can understand them. And one way we represent text in a numerical value is what we call embeddings, vector representation of text or strings. So for example, if you have this word, how old are you? Embedding can create a vector. A vector is an array of numbers that define this sentence. Okay, so that's what we call embedding. So, for example, when we type with ChatGPT and you type ChatGPT something, underneath the hood, ChatGPT converts whatever you write into embeddings, numbers. It doesn't understand it as string. It converts it to numbers. And when it wants to respond to you, the response are generated as embeddings as well. But it has a head, a part of it that converts those embeddings into strings so that you can read them. So there is this kind of a transformation between strings to numbers back to string when we communicate with large language models. And there are different ways embeddings are conducted. The most traditional one is through what we call count vectors. So you count the number, for example, how many times did how occur in my document? How many times did old occur in my document? Okay, so what we call a word frequency embedding. So people do this thing called TF-IDF, time frequency inverse document frequency, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about. But we move from this traditional one to a more sophisticated one, such as word2vec, glove, and others. But the most powerful ones are the ones that represent semantics, not just the keyword, but they represent the context behind this keyword. And this is how large language models understand what we say. So they have this contextualized word embedding that leverages transformer, what we call transformer models, to learn them. So we are going to move ahead to talk about the legal case strategy analytics. How can we apply AI and machine learning to help lawyers to extract strategy for within a case? So there is this thing called case-based reasoning. Case-based reasoning is even though we are presenting that as a computing science algorithm, it is actually what lawyers do in real life. And you know what we do in computing science, we mimic a lot. So when we see something that works in a particular field, we think of how to bring that into computing. So case-based reasoning is an algorithm that we develop looking at how lawyers operate. In fact, my current research group, which is AI and reasoning, is built around case-based reasoning. And we've applied that in several fields, including energy, health, law, several applications with a lot of success and attracting a lot of grants for funding, supporting research in that area. So I'm going to present this in the context of law. And what is it about? When just what I've been explaining, when a lawyer has a case, new case, it wants to go to a collection of cases, what we call case library here, and retrieve similar cases. So we've talked about how we can retrieve these similar cases using k-nearest neighbors, what we call information retrieval using k-nearest neighbors. We've talked about this. And when they retrieve these cases, what do they do with these cases? They try to reuse some of the lessons from these cases to inform what they would do in their own case. So one of the things they do is through what we call argument mining. So, and what is argument mining? We can have a case that has been completed. And then what the algorithm will do is it will filter the strength of the plaintiff and the weakness of the plaintiff, the strength of the defendant and the weakness of the defendant in terms of the arguments. And you as a lawyer, what will you do with that? If your client is the plaintiff, you are seeing the strength of the strength of the arguments you can leverage in terms of the strong arguments, and you are seeing where you could be weak. And what do? You think of how to plan around your weakness to strengthen your argument. The other opponent is the plaintiff. Okay, you have seen their strength. You are looking at how do I counter those strengths. You've seen their weaknesses. You are trying to leverage their weaknesses to win them. So argument mining will help you understand the two sides of the case. And then another thing is in terms of document summarization. Maybe you just have a short time towards going for a legal proceeding. What will you do? And you have started a lot of cases, maybe 100 cases or 50 cases. You may not have time to read all the case. You may leverage natural language processing algorithms or large language models to summarize these cases for you, and make it easier for you to go through them. Another important thing is what we call outcome logic extraction, which is quite super powerful for legal application. And what it's about is this. So assuming that I have a new case, a lawyer has a new case and has retrieved 5 cases or 10 cases that are similar to their new case. And after retrieving these cases, you figured out your client is the plaintiff and the other person is the defendant. And you figured out in these 10 cases, the plaintiff lost. So the plaintiff, which means there is probability that your client, who is also a plaintiff in a case similar to these ones you're looking at, may lose. So what will you do at that point? You want to filter the logic behind the outcome of the case. So you can use large language model to filter the logic behind the outcome of the case. And what will that help you do? You will plan a strategy around this logic to think of how to flip the logic to favor your clients. So that is case-based reasoning presented. So there are more to it if we want to expand them. And I will not go into details to talk about the underlying mathematics and the logic behind each of these, but they are important areas that people are exploring in terms of legal analytics. So we have ongoing work with my colleague, Dr. Ezenkwu Beke, who have worked very closely with not just my colleague, also a friend and brother. So we work very closely. So we have applied large language models in several law applications. So we've worked on supervised a student that work on multilingual legal advisory chatbot using this thing called retrieval augmented generation, RAG. So and what it helps to do is to advise people on criminal law in England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And what RAG does is, so large language model has been trained on a lot of data from the internet. So when you ask it question, it responds to you using domain agnostic knowledge. So it's responding to you with knowledge that doesn't apply to that particular domain. And one way you can stop it from, and that is what results results in misinformation and hallucination, If we want to confine it to focus on authoritative sources, that is what RAG will do. So if you provide PDF documents that represents source of information, it doesn't use that general knowledge. It looks at the knowledge within those authoritative sources to respond. And what we did in the project was to provide the chatbot these authoritative sources PDF documents that represents legal information regarding these regions. And currently, we are supervising a PhD together with Dr. Ebuka. So we are supervising a PhD on how countries can keep track of their compliance to net zero strategy. So we have a PhD student working on this using large language models. So it's an ongoing project. Okay, so despite all the wonderful things we talked about AI, I think as AI increasingly continue to integrate with our environment, it's good for us to pay attention to the aspect of responsible and ethical AI. So I love this Professor Yejin Cho from the University of Washington. She said, AI is incredibly intelligent, but shockingly stupid, which I totally agree with. And that will take us in the next 2 minutes, we go through some of the problems associated with AI. We have risks associated with AI. One of the most important problems, and I'm presenting it from the technical side, is what we call the goal misalignment problem in AI. When we want to develop an AI algorithm, what we do is we think about the goal we want the AI algorithm to achieve, and we go ahead to think about a mathematical representation of this goal, what we call objective function. We design this objective function that the AI algorithm will optimize. And so we try to communicate our goal to AI. Sometimes AI will not understand us. And this happens not just when we design AI from the back end, even when we interact with AI like ChatGPT through the chat interface, right? We also try to communicate what we want. Sometimes ChatGPT will misunderstood you. And that is what we call the goal misalignment problem of AI. And look at what it means. So we have this robot here. And our intention is to tell the robot, get to point B as quickly as possible. That's our intention. That's what we are communicating to the robot. In our brain, when we say this to a human, we expect the human to run quickly and get to point B. But this is AI. It will come up with a strategy that it thinks that works the best. So it gets to be the way it likes, okay? And this is not what we want to achieve. This looks like a toy example and may look harmless, but this can be really harmful. Let us think about having a robot that prescribes drugs to patients in the hospital. And then we have programmed it. The goal is patients to leave the hospital as quickly as possible. In the brain of the robot is thinking, what is easier? Is it prescribing poison to them to die quickly or waiting for them to recover? Right? So there is a lot of implication in this. And that's what we call the goal misalignment problem of AI. So when people tell me that AI will destroy the world, I say no. AI will not destroy the world. What will destroy the world is the communication gap between human and AI. That is what will destroy the world. Okay, and that is the goal misalignment problem of AI. Another thing is, we know this and we hear this all the time, is that AI can perpetuate bias. And this is an inherent property of AI because AI does what we call pattern recognition. So when a particular pattern is consistent in a particular category, it leverages that pattern to tell things apart. And some researchers have done a research. What they wanted to do is to develop a computer vision system that can tell husky, okay, a dog, husky, and wolf, tell them apart. When you put an image of an animal, it tells you whether it's wolf or husky. But one thing with the data set is the images of wolves have the wolf sitting on a snowy background. But those of the dog do not have the dog sitting on a snowy background. And what AI learns to do is to associate snow with wolves. So whenever it sees snow, that is wolf. And then if you have a dog sitting on a snowy background, AI will say that should be a wolf. All right? So that is the same problem of pattern recognition and correlation, which we know is not causation. So we should know, we have heard that correlation is not causation. That is one of those cases. And this again may look harmless, but we've seen the situation of an Amazon recruitment system preferring to hire men than women, because men have done that job more than women historically. Okay, and we've seen a case of pedestrian detection system in self-driving car not being able to detect Black people and children because they are not represented in the data. So the solution to this is responsible AI, which looks at AI from the ethical, explainable, fairness, inclusiveness, accountability side of things. So when we apply artificial intelligence, we have to think about them from human-centric perspective. So I think I've taken a bit of more time, and I'm going to stop right here. Thank you very much. And if you can, please, you can connect with us on LinkedIn so that we chat more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chinedu, for that wonderful and intelligent presentation. All right. Does any of us have questions for our speaker? Yeah. I will just take one question. Yes. All right. Go ahead.
My question is particularly in oil and gas drilling. Considering how delicate drilling is it wise to fully inculcate AI into drilling?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think that's an interesting question. Yes, drilling is a safety critical process. So there is a lot of attention to safety. And so that's why you don't pass on. So what AI does is a decision support system, and it's not a decision maker. So there's two different things there: being decision support and being a decision support system and being a decision maker. So when you have artificial intelligence being part of a safety critical system, you don't allow it to make decisions. It can help you to flag up important things and then allow human to make decisions. So when we apply AI, like for example, I didn't talk about the project I did with BP. So one of the things we look at is in terms of their health and safety. So we use AI to identify what might go wrong in terms of incidences happening at the platforms. So we didn't allow AI to make decisions, but it flags it up. If it looks like something that could be severe, it flags it up for people who manage the system to now decide and take action that best suits that. So I totally agree with you that in safety critical systems or processes like drilling, we don't give out control entirely to AI. We just have human in the loop to complete the decision-making process. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your response. The second question is this. You talked about using AI for data acquisition and data interpretation. And you also talked about using it for flow line checks. My question is, what are the challenges using AI to perform such tasks?
Yeah, so in terms of the data acquisition, we didn't use AI for data acquisition. We use operational technologies, so like digital twin, which it's an Internet of Things kind of system that has sensors that gather this data through a wireless sensor network, send it to a remote location, just log it into a database. Yes, so in terms of monitoring flow, rate of flow along a pipeline using artificial intelligence, the major challenge is the data engineering process, the process of identifying suitable sensors, fitting them well, the way they show the integration of the sensor system is always where the challenge is. But if you solve that data pipeline problem, it becomes easier to apply machine learning models. So the application of the modeling side of things are the easiest part. Okay, the process of getting the data, feeding them into the model and training the model is quite easier than the process of the sensor design, sensor integration, and that communication between the sensor and your central system is always where I feel the challenge is in terms of application of digital twin. If that answers the question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Can we have the next question?
The last question.
How can AI stop theft and vandalization of pipeline?
Oh yeah, okay. You mean pipeline vandalism, yeah?
Theft.
'Okay, so you're talking about pipeline vandalization. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about pipeline vandalization. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so pipeline vandalization is a very, very
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So yes, no, that's an important problem, and one of the things people do is computer vision based system. All right, put computer vision based. So we have CCTVs around along these facilities, but having an AI algorithm that could also monitor what we call scene detection, to monitor what could be happening if somebody is coming closer to the pipeline. In fact, it could be what we call geofencing. Geofencing is when people cross into where they shouldn't cross into. That is not even AI, that's a GIS application. If people go beyond where they should go, near those facilities, those systems can trigger security to say there's someone coming closer to the pipeline, right? So there are a lot of things people do around this. We're using computer-based vision systems that can track and monitor activities around the pipeline, as well as geographical information system that can also geofence it and say, once someone is about 15 meters close to the pipeline, we have to raise an alarm so that security will know what to do when they come, when that happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Doc. We have let's take one last question.
All right, thank you, Doc. My question is this: at the beginning of the class, you mentioned about that a lot of sensors that monitor the strength of information link, right? To know if have the corrosive effects and all that. But like in Nigeria, where we come from, there's always a case of that those pipes being no, not for the line. They get wet at a point and they're spilling. And sometimes it still lasts for a very long time before they forget to report. And it causes a lot of population within the area. So, what is the challenge of them not noticing on time? Since there's always sensor that monitors corrosive effects on this transmission link. So how come we still have leakages that happens and stay and spend weeks, even sometimes months before, and the companies that report it to the government before they come to do cleanup?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think that's an interesting question. But yeah, I think that has to do with digital transformation. So I may agree that digital transformation in some part of the world are not the same with those in other parts of the world. Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I've not studied the oil and gas pipeline within Nigeria. So, but it might be that the digital transformation is not as a comprehensive as it is in other parts of the world that have adopted these technologies. Yeah, so I have a student that is working on sustainable AI application in oil and gas oil spill detection currently. And one of the things we found is there are a lot of sensors people use to do this. So one of them is, for example, once in a while at intervals, acoustic sensor. So it sends some sound wave across the pipeline. The sound generated by this sound wave, the acoustic signal tells us something about the health of the pipeline. So this is one way people do this. So if these systems are not installed in place, there's no way, there's no magic. AI will not do magic unless there is proper digital transformation. There are infrastructures and technologies, as well as the expertise to implement these technologies. If they are not in place, AI will not implement itself. So I think I may not say much about this because I do not understand how the oil and gas pipeline system in Nigeria works, but it's about digital transformation and intentional application of technology using the right experts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chinedu. We are delighted to have you on the call this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
At this point, I would want to call on my colleague to introduce the next speaker.
Our next speaker is Ms. Faiza Jibril. She is a seasoned back-end engineer with deep expertise in software engineering, data engineering, and cloud technologies. She works as a software engineer in JPMorgan, Chase & Co. United Kingdom. She is instrumental in designing and maintaining scalable backend systems, leveraging technologies such as Java, Golang, Python, Spring Boot, and AWS to deliver high-performance solutions. Faiza holds a master's degree in data analytics and technologies from the University of Bolton, as well as a bachelor's degree in computer engineering from Nile University of Nigeria. A published researcher, her academic contributions include several research papers focused on data analytics, machine learning, and system optimization. Her professional interests lie in distributed systems, microservices, and cloud architecture, with a strong emphasis on optimizing backend performance and building resilient, high availability infrastructures. In addition to her technical work, Faiza is passionate about mentoring the next generation of technologists, offering guidance on tech career paths, backend scalability, and cloud infrastructure best practices. Today, she is giving seminar on experimenting with AI in software engineering to you guys. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Faiza Jibril. I'm a software engineer, like he mentioned. About 2 years ago, I was a student at the university, just like you guys. And I used to look forward to these sessions, especially if it meant that I wasn't going to have classes that day. So I hope that you guys are having fun and are enjoying the session. So give me a few minutes. I'll try to share my screen and we can go through the topic together. Okay. Okay, I think I have to rejoin because I've just had to give Zoom some permission. Is that okay if I just rejoin in a minute?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
You're muted. All right.
Can you hear me now?
But,
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. So, I was simply saying that my topic is experimenting with AI in software engineering, and it's a very lighthearted topic. It's interesting, very interesting. From this topic, is anybody getting an idea of what we might be talking about today? Anybody?
Yes,
Can you tell me what you think it's about?
it's about integrating the AI, maybe in some of operations or in some of using a co-pilot while developing your software.
Yeah, exactly. I hope we all find that interesting. I chose this topic today because I've been looking at the industry trends and I see that lots of companies are beginning to integrate AI and these co-pilots in their systems, and they've become a tool that is essential for engineers, data scientists, and as long as you're in tech, really, I think it's important for you to know how to use these AI tools. So that is our topic, basically. So why is, one sec. So why is AI reshaping software engineering? In industries or in the commercial workforce, time is money. When you use AI in things like software engineering, in data science, you get to save a lot of time, be it with automation, with development of codes, or just in debugging. You get to save a lot of time when you use these AI tools. Let's talk about automation, for instance. AI tools are able to automate routine code tasks. This way, engineers are able to focus on the more critical parts of coding, which is basically problem solving, critical thinking, and logic. If you used to use, or if you've ever written code using maybe like HTML or CSS, you would know that there's a lot of boilerplate code, a lot of things that have to be repeated. Using AI tools, you're able to skip all of those repetitive parts. You're able to focus on the core parts of your software or of your website design, or basically the core parts of your project. That is what AI does for you. It skips all the repetitive things. You're able to tell it, okay, create a boilerplate code for, let's say, a particular web page, and it does that for you. And then you're able to go back into that code and then optimize it to fit your use case. Similarly, with accelerated development, if you write code or you build projects, you know that it takes a long time. If you make use of the software design lifecycle, the standard one that is used in industry, you know that coding or building a software goes through multiple iterations. You build something and then you have to refine it, and then you have to refine it before you get to the final result or before you get to the final solution. This can be reduced drastically by using AI. Let's start from the beginning of creating a solution. Usually when you start thinking about solving a problem, or when you start thinking of building a software, you need to have an architecture, right? You need to design an architecture for that software. You need to decide how you want the software to work. If you want it to be scalable, if you want it to make use of cloud technologies, AI technologies are able to help you with that. So you can simply give it a prompt and say, okay, this is how I want my software to work. And then it does a lot of the brainstorming for you. And then you can go back in with the refinement, right? Now, when we talk about the software design lifecycle, we also have a part of this where we do a lot of testing. And if you've written unit tests before, you know that this is very repetitive. So why spend so much time writing unit tests, so many unit tests, when AI can do this for you? You can spend 2 to 3 days writing unit tests. And in the industry now, this has reduced. If you use GitHub Copilot, GitHub Copilot can help you write your unit tests. There's also another tool called Testim, which is great, and I use that personally, that helps you do all the unit tests that you need. And you can just go into the unit test that it has written to make sure that everything has been written correctly and everything runs as you want it to. I've noticed that this has kind of become an expectation now in the industry, that you know how to use these AI tools. Nobody is expecting that you spend 2 days writing unit tests, right? I mean, if you have these tools at your disposal, why not learn how to use it? Especially as a master's student. We know that after the master's, we want to build personal projects, we want to get jobs. Even for our thesis, I think we will be building our own projects, right? Why not start preparing towards the thesis, or just why not start building projects that you'll be proud of having in your CV by utilizing these AI tools to help you refine your thought process, to help you learn new languages and new machine learning models that you haven't, should I say, that you haven't practiced with. if you understand what I'm saying. So yes, AI tools can help you build faster. It can help you test faster, and it can help you ship your products to the market faster. I know that there is also an AI tool for deployment. It helps you deploy your products very quickly to the market. You can deploy your simple projects. Let's say you just think of something, maybe okay, let me give you an example. So this Valentine's Day, I wanted to create an application for my friends and family. I do know React, but I haven't used React in a few years. So I picked up my Visual Studio Code, picked up my GitHub Copilot, and asked it, basically, I took boilerplate code, went up to ChatGPT, told it exactly what I wanted to build, and within a day, I already had fully functioning code, fully functioning application, which I understood, by the way, that I was able to deploy. Right? This is something that without the use of these AI tools would have likely taken me 3 weeks, 2 weeks, depending on how much time I would have spent on it. So this is something that I think we need to think about. I'm not saying that we should use these AI tools without actually learning anything, but I think that if we were to utilize them properly, we would learn a lot and we would be able to build faster as well. In addition to this, enhanced capabilities. Previously, engineers were not able to predict bugs before they happen, right? It's almost impossible, like, unless you're like very, very experienced. I've met engineers that have maybe 10 to 20 years experience that would look at a piece of code and be like, that is going to give you problems in the future. Someone that is a junior engineer is not able to do that. But with AI tools like testing, we are able to run this code through this AI tool and see that, okay, these are possible areas where we can have bugs. And it's important to fix these bugs before they even go into production, right? So that you do not get called at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and you're told that your code has broken. That would be absolutely terrible. Yes, so yeah, engineers solve previously intractable problems, example, predicting bugs, and AI augments human creativity and expertise. So when you think of these AI tools, rather than being scared that they're going to take away our jobs, we should see them as tools for improving our current skill sets. If you think of an analogy, think of how Superman uses his super suit to enhance his abilities. That is how we should be using these AI tools rather than being scared of them. Okay. Second. Sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Okay. I am using a new computer, so I'm struggling with it a bit. Okay. So let's talk about the evolution of AI in software engineering. My first interaction with, let's say, AI, kind of, after university was 2015. Sorry, outside university was 2015, 2017, during my first internship, where I began learning web development. While learning web development, I was making use of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, the basic tools that you would typically use. And like I mentioned earlier, CSS, HTML has a lot of redundant code, which if you have a very intelligent IDE that is able to complete a lot of things for you, you'll be very happy. In 2017 or maybe 2018, I found this IDE which could work with all the languages I had mentioned, and it was better than VS Code when it came to syntax suggestions and completing my HTML tags. It was great with that. I was so in love with it. At that time, that was the apex of, should I say, AI when it comes to software engineering. Being able to complete certain tags, give you code suggestions. In 2018 to 2020, that's when we began to see properly ML-powered code analysis, right? We had the first AI testing assistants hit the market, but this was not mainstream. The common man didn't know about this. It wasn't very popular. But in 2021 to 2022, Microsoft and GitHub Copilot, Microsoft launched GitHub Copilot. It became very, 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 very popular. And I think this is still one of the most popular AI tools when it comes to assisting software engineers, data scientists with coding. It's also my favorite. GitHub Copilot utilizes LLMs, and it just makes work for you seamless. I'm not going to go into defining or explaining what LLMs are because I've seen that the previous speakers have done justice to this. So LLMs in 2021, 2022 became popularized, and they became more capable of generating complex functions, right? Now, in 2023 till right now, multimodal coding assistants are the big thing. What are multimodal coding assistants? These are coding assistants that can help you do everything. They help you through the entire software development lifecycle, from the minute you think of an idea to testing, deployment, all of it. That is what multimodal coding assistants do. I know that Gemini is currently building another multimodal coding assistant that helps with the entire software engineering lifecycle, and I'm really excited to see that. With these advancements and with this evolution, the way people think of software engineering has also changed. I don't know if anyone has heard of the term vibe coding. It's something I recently learned from the internet. A group of people have started calling themselves vibe coders. And what this means is that they take an idea and they put it into these AI tools, right? And they basically guide these AI tools to give them the solution or the software that they want. So they give the AI a prompt, refine these prompts until they finally get their final solution. And these vibe coders have gone on to build softwares, deploy these softwares, put them on Google App Store. Is it the Google App Store? Put it on the Apple App Store, and they've made money from these apps. I mean, if you're so resistant to using AI, you're not going to be able to achieve these things. Think of, as you are, what you've been able to achieve with respect to data science, software engineering. There are people with less practical experience that have been able to utilize these tools to have strong projects in their portfolio and have been able to use these tools to build projects that they're proud of. That is the entire essence of making use of AI in software engineering, in data science, in whatever engineering or technological field that you are in right now. Okay. Right. So what are the current AI tools landscape? So we have a few here. We have GitHub Copilot, we have Tab9, we have Amazon Code Whisperer, we have Snake, we have Codium, we have SourceGraph. I think at this juncture, I wanted to have like a quick, let me call it a game. I think you guys should be familiar with Mentimeter. I know we used it quite a lot when I was in school here. Let's see if we can try that. I just want to know how many people have heard about these tools, how many people have used them, if that's okay. So give me 1 minute to sort that out. So if you can quickly scan this QR code, you should be let into the, should I say, the Mentimeter room, I guess. And then you can participate in the interactive session. It's just a bunch of questions and that are fun, dare I say. And if you can't see my screen, please let me know and I'll try to sort that out. So I don't know how many we are in the meeting room. So moderator, I think we have like 15 people here.
60 in the meeting room.
26, okay.
60.
Oh, 60, okay. Okay. Okay, if we can get half of that, I think that should be fine.
You guys got it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have 26 people now. Sir, should we proceed? Okay, can we try to settle down just a little bit? Let's proceed. So the first question is okay.
All right.
Okay.
Questions are there.
So if we don't understand what we're supposed to do, basically, if you go to menti.com or if you had scanned the QR code earlier, you're going to just answer a bunch of questions. They're just fun questions. Nobody's getting punished or anything. If you get, I mean, there's no wrong answer, I think. It's just to get your opinions and to make the session a little more interactive, if that's okay. So the first question is basically, do you believe AI is going to take our jobs? The entire point of this session, my session, is to show you how you can use AI and to show you that AI is not going to take your job. Just like the earlier doctor mentioned, it's not going to take your job, but if you shy away from it and you refuse to learn how to use AI, then I wouldn't say your skills may become obsolete, but somebody who knows how to use these technologies would likely, be in a better position than you are. So I'm glad that majority of the people that have voted have said no. That is very nice because, yeah, truly, I do not believe that AI is going to take anyone's job. If you have used any of these tools, you know that there's a long way to go with respect to refinement, and these tools cannot be used without human logic. I mean, you need a human as a driver to be able to make use of these AI technologies. So thank you for that. The next question is basically, which of these AI tools have you heard of, right? So we have GitHub Copilot, we have Snake. Which one are you familiar with? If you have, or if you've heard of a new one, feel free to type it in. We also have Codium, we have Gemini, we have, I think we can even add ChatGPT to this if yeah. Have we used any ones for testing? Have we used any of these tools to build personal projects? What was our experience with it? DeepSeek, that's a really good one. That's a really, really good one. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Are you guys also aware of the AI, the tool that Amazon has created specifically for AWS and for people within Amazon? I should also say that these huge corporations have begun to invest a lot of money into building their own AI tools so that they don't have to use the ones that are open source. And I'll tell you why as we progress with the session. Qwen AI. I haven't heard of that before. I should definitely look that up. That's very interesting. Owned by Alibaba. That's lovely. I've learned something new. Meta AI. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Let's go to the next question. Which of these ones have you used? GitHub Copilot is the most popular one, but I do see lots of people also using tools like Claude, like GPT, to help refine their thought process, to help with building of their architecture. Does anyone also know that there's an AI tool for SQL? There's an AI tool for SQL that I've used before, actually, that can help you build your relation diagram. You know, when you build your databases and then you connect them. Yeah, there's an AI tool for that can help you build that. You just tell it what you want to do and it builds the tables and relates them for you. And that's amazing. Oh, someone has used Grok. I've never used Grok. But I've seen people talk about it a lot. Okay. ChatGPT Copilot, GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot is amazing, honestly. And I don't mean to sound biased, but it's also very accessible, especially because you can integrate it in so many IDEs. It's available on Visual Studio. It's available on IntelliJ if you use Java. It's also available for people that use Golang. So yeah. And if you've not used any of these tools, is there one you would like to try? I mentioned making use of Testim earlier. Yeah, Testim is great for testing, for unit testing, and you're able to go through unit testing very quickly. I think anybody in tech that writes unit tests will tell you how boring and how much they dislike it. So having a tool in your toolkit that is able to handle that for you is honestly so great. So thank you guys so much for engaging in that session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. So I'm just going to carry on. So these are some of the AI tools I wanted to highlight. We have Tab 9, we have GitHub Copilot, we have Snake, we have Codium, we have SourceGraph. I'm going to tell you about each one in a minute. So GitHub Copilot, that's the most popular one, helps you with code auto-completion, helps you find errors within your code, especially when you're debugging. If you encounter a problem, GitHub Copilot is definitely going to help you with that. Then we have Tab 9, which is great for code completions. I think, but I'm not sure if it's created by Google, I think. Then we have Amazon Code Whisperer, which is the one I spoke about earlier, which is great for if you're using AWS or if you are building something for Amazon. This is specifically for Amazon. And that's why it's honestly so cool. Then we have Snake, which I haven't used before, but I've heard that it's great for checking the security of your code. It scans your code for security. Like if you haven't used maybe the proper encryption in a particular part of your code, Snake is able to detect that. And then we have Codium, which serves as a pair programming body for you. Pair programming is when you're coding, like writing code with someone. So I'm sharing ideas or working on the logic and like you're typing, something like that. That's what Codium does. And SourceGraph is for when you work with massive code bases. If you go into the industry and it's your first time on the job, you would typically be given a huge code base for you to go through, for you to master, for you to learn. And SourceGraph, it makes it easier for you to go through and understand that code base very quickly. So these are some of the tools that I think will be very helpful in your arsenal. whether as a master's student, if you're working on a personal project, if you're working on your thesis. Yeah, I think it's important to have these tools and to know how to use them. So what are the key areas for AI experimentation? We have advanced architecture design. I mentioned earlier that AI can help provide optimal system architectures. So for instance, you want to build a software that you want to be very scalable. You don't know how to do it. You can tell these co-pilots, these AI tools, what you want, and they can guide you to building the right architecture, an architecture that is resilient, that would not break easily, right? Then we also have predictive debugging. This is amazing because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of software engineers, especially at the start of their careers, are not able to detect or predict bugs before they occur. I mean, if right now I can only tell maybe if my loop is going to never end, right? And I can only tell if my code is breaking in that moment. Like if my code is breaking in that moment, I can tell, but I cannot tell if the code I've written would break in the future, right? This is not something we're able to tell without the use of AI. And that's because AI has been trained with respect to pattern recognition. It has a lot of information in its database. It's able to tell, okay, I've seen this before, and with what I know, this is likely going to cause this issue. Then we have automated testing. Like I mentioned earlier, we're able to generate test cases using these AI tools. I remember, I think it was it last year? I was working on something, on a project at work, and I was trying to make use of a testing tool. I can't remember the name right now, and I didn't know how to use it. And my team lead asked, "Oh, why are you still struggling with this test?" And I was like, "I don't know how to use this to write my unit test." And he's like, "Okay, but you have these AI tools. Go and use them. Why spend so much time struggling with figuring out how to use, I think, Cucumber, yeah. I was trying to learn how to learn how to write Cucumber tests, and it was taking me a really, really long time. So what I did was to go to these AI tools and use them to learn. I used it to learn, and I used it to generate my test cases, and it was great. Of course, I had to get it reviewed by my team lead and members of my team before proceeding with the code, but that helped save me a lot of time. And it would help save you too in industry if you learn how to use these tools on time, especially testing. Then code generation from requirements to implementation. Now, this is a little touchy, right? Code generation, while it's great, like everything that comes to AI, you need to take it with a pinch of salt, right? I would not recommend using these tools if you have zero knowledge of coding or of programming. If you know like how to write your code, what it's supposed to look like, right? How it's supposed to work, then I guess it's a good place to start. But if you don't know anything about coding, it's not great for you to use these tools to just vomit code for you, and you just take it and then you use it. And I'll tell you why in a few slides. So these are the key areas where AI is being used with respect to software engineering, with respect to data science. I do know that there are certain AI tools that are specific for data scientists as well. I also know that ChatGPT recently came out with an analytics, I think, part where you give it your data and then it helps you analyze it and things like that. That would be great, especially if you're just starting with data analytics and you don't know exactly what to do, right? So then let's assume that you have a project in mind and you want to start using one of these AI tools to help complete or to help assist you with your projects. The key word here is assisting. The AI tools are here to assist. It's here to add to what you already have, right? So the first thing would be for you to define your objectives. Set clear goals for your AI experiment, focus on measurable outcomes. So what do you want to do, right? What exactly is it that you want to do? How do you measure the success of this experiment? So let's assume that you want to build a software, or let's say you want to just do a project. What are you expecting? Are you expecting faster solutions? Like, are you expecting to finish the project faster? Are you expecting that you learn from the AI? Are you expecting that it's easier for you? What are you expecting? Then you need to refine your prompts and workflow, right? The first prompt you use is likely not going to give you the perfect result, but you need to refine the prompt, refine the results you get, and make sure you're sharing your learnings with a team member, or maybe a colleague, or maybe your professor, or like Professor Dr. Celestine now. He's going to be able to tell you what works and what isn't working. In software engineering, I think data science as well, iteration is very important. So it's important to iterate whatever process or whatever you're working with until you get the best result. Then we need to measure results, right? Was your code faster? Was it better? Was your code cleaner? Clean code is very important. How clean was your code? What did you learn? Do you think you've learned anything from that experience? Be it, have you learned a new tool, or have you learned how to write better tests, right? Then finally, small scale testing. You need to start with non-critical projects, which is why I suggested starting with a hobby, like a pet project. Maybe think of something that you want to build this weekend and start testing it out. Build something small, share it with your friends, share with me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to see. Yeah, these are some of the ways you could start initially with using these tools. Then what are the challenges and risks? Earlier, the doctor that spoke before me mentioned hallucinations and accuracy. AI tools occasionally generate plausible but incorrect code. What does this mean? It means that these codes look correct to the naked eye. You would think it's correct, but the code is actually incorrect. So you might be asking the AI to solve a particular problem for you, and it would literally return the code back to you verbatim, and it has changed nothing, but it will tell you, oh, I have fixed this, I have fixed this, I have fixed this. And if you do not verify the outputs, right, you would just assume that the code is correct. So we need to be careful while we're still using these AI tools because of hallucinations, accuracy, and things like that. Security concerns. Some models may suggest vulnerable code patterns. So for instance, let's assume, excuse me, a simple example is you're building a website that requires you to use HTTPS, which basically has an added layer of protection, and your code that's being generated by this AI tool is returning HTTP, right? Or it's giving you code that basically uses HTTP. You're exposing yourself to attacks. And if you're not looking at the code properly, and if you're not aware of these things, you would end up getting yourself in trouble and getting your company in trouble as well. So it's important that you implement strict security reviews for AI-generated code. Then intellectual property. I know that lots of companies are very restrictive when it comes to using external AI tools, right? That's because code training data sets may include licensed material. So it's important that you review organizations' policies on using generative AI. And if, as a student as well, it's important that you review the policies of the university before using it for any projects that have to do with the university. So just, you can speak to your supervisor, your professors, ask them what they think about it, what are the guidelines, and just be careful. Be careful with putting sensitive data into these AI tools. Whenever you want to use something that has maybe personal information, it's best for you to use dummy data. Then developer deskilling. This is something that my colleagues and I have discussed a few times. We've said, or we've agreed, that over-reliance on AI can lead to eroding of fundamental skills. Just like a muscle, right? If you stop using that muscle, it's going to, what's the word? It's going to become weaker. You're going to lose muscle. So if you rely too much on AI to do everything for you, you're going to forget how to do the basic things to begin with. So it's important to balance automation with continued learning and understanding. For instance, like I mentioned, while it's important to use these AI tools to make life easier for you and to, let's say, finish code testing quickly, it's also important that I don't do this all the time. When I have the time, I should also make sure that I'm writing my unit tests myself. Else I'm going to either forget everything I've learned or I'm not going to learn further. Like I'm going to be stuck in the past. Okay. And what is the future of AI in software engineering? Well, by the end of 2025, 70% of routine tasks would likely be carried out by AI. Again, this does not mean anybody's losing their job. No, it just means that as a data scientist, as a software engineer, as a cybersecurity expert, you're going to be faster with delivering tasks and delivering your solutions. And then it is expected that the use of these AI tools would triple the productivity of software engineers, data scientists, basically of technical personnel. And another expectation is that these technical personnel, engineers, and the rest of them would acquire new skills. I do know that so many software engineers are going back to get certificates on LLMs, on AI, on even prompt engineering, right? There's this prompt engineering now, and so many people are getting certificates in it. And I think that's a really cool thing. And I think that is something that we should probably also consider acquiring. So basically, start experimenting today. Do not be scared of these AI tools. They do not make you, well, if used correctly, they do not make you lazy, right? These technologies enable you to become better engineers, and the future certainly belongs to engineers who effectively partner with AI tools while maintaining their creative edge. Thank you so much. I hope this has been fun. And I hope you guys have learned things that are new and have also heard things that you can relate to. So if you have questions,
There's one question.
Thank you so much, Faiza Jibril. We have questions?
sure.
There's one question.
There's a question online.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me.
I'll mute your microphone.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Professor. Hi, Faiza. You mentioned multimodal. I couldn't quite hear. Did you say multimodal or multimodal? What is that, please? And the what was it? Vendor vibe coding. Could you just expand a bit on those two things for me, please?
So, of course, if you look at number 4, it speaks on multimodal coding assistant, which is basically a coding assistant that can do multiple things. So a coding assistant that can generally help you through the entire software design or software engineering lifecycle. So from designing your architecture to deployment, right? That is what a multimodal coding assistant is. And I mentioned that Gemini is building one at the moment. So you can Google it and see what they're doing about that. And I think vibe coding, yes. So I saw this recently while on the internet, while doing some research. And vibe coders basically, they have prompts, or they create prompts for whatever solution that they want to build. So for instance, if I'm a vibe coder and I'm trying to build, let's say, an app that is able to take my shopping list and do something with it, I would give this prompt to whatever AI tool that I'm using, and I would refine whatever result is given to me consistently until I get my desired product, right? So recently, people that do that have started calling themselves vibe coders, because I assume that it requires a certain level of programming knowledge for you to be able to, should I say, for you to be able to guide the AI tool to give you your desired solution. Does that help?
So in a sense, that's like iterating over your prompt to get what you need.
Exactly. So serving as like a manager over the AI tool.
And do you know of any multimodal AI assistants apart from the one that is yet to be released?
Built. No, I don't know anyone right now. I could Google this for you. I don't think I use anyone at the moment. I only use GitHub Copilot, and that kind of does one thing. I have had to use tools across, like multiple tools at the same time to achieve my results. But I will check, and I would probably let Professor Celestine know.
How do we get hold of you on LinkedIn, please, Faiza?
Of course. My name is Faiza Jibril. So if you check on LinkedIn, my name appears exactly as this, Faiza Jibril.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It will be lovely connecting with any one of you if you would like to connect as well.
Good afternoon, Mrs.
Hello.
Faiza.
Good afternoon.
Isaac, I'm not yet told you.
Miss Faiza.
I
So I'm
can't
not
hear
yet told you she's married. Can you tell us? He's calling you Mrs. Faiza.
Okay.
So we're not yet to the cake.
I believe that most developers are using Olama. I believe the latest one is version 4.
Right.
How come that Olama is not disclosing information?
Sorry, I didn't get that. It's a little noisy. Can you?
I believe most developers uses Olama to
Right.
assist them in. How confident are you that Olama is not disclosing information in process of using it?
Of course. What software engineers use Olama? Because I do know that companies are very restrictive when it comes to using open source AI models. Like my company does not allow it, right? So I only use these for personal projects. So of course, I mean, there's no guarantee that these AI tools are not divulging information. I mean, they say they are not, but it is important that you are very careful with the kind of data that you put into these AI tools. And if you must use these AI tools, please use dummy data. Never expose any personal information, any company data.
Thank you very much. In terms of vulnerabilities, how do you track the vulnerabilities of the coding tool you're using?
Sorry, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I'm struggling.
In terms of vulnerabilities with the coding tools, because all the coding tools come with their own inherent vulnerabilities, some versions, a code module that is secure today might not be secure tomorrow. How do you track them?
Okay. When it comes to vulnerabilities, right, it is important that you check code. Your code is supposed to be updated, right? So whenever you've completed the first iteration, you're supposed to go back and make sure at each time that everything is fine, that your code has not caused any new vulnerabilities, if that makes sense. I don't know if this answers your question or you're asking about something more specific. If you can explain further. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm struggling.
Time to take out of this that all these models they have some of them are vulnerable. Maybe to code execution, if you're using them, it can be taken over by hackers, even though you're using it. Sometimes I think you're using Copilot when you're not using Copilot. So
right.
In your organization, how do you monitor those vulnerabilities at the back end?
So thank you for that question. I think I understand better now. So within my organization, like I mentioned earlier, we use only use tools that are generated by the company. And these tools are very secure and they are monitored daily for any attacks or anything at all. We do not use any open source, anything that is open source. Like, you're not allowed to use it within the company. And I do believe, like other companies like Amazon, you're not allowed to use external tools. This way, they're able to monitor vulnerabilities when it comes to code that is being used by the organization. Now, when it comes to using these tools that, let's say, maybe when it comes to using these tools outside a work environment for personal projects, I'm not sure how you can manage that, to be honest. I think you just need to be careful, and maybe when you've gotten back whatever code the AI tool has given you, you need to cross-check. And like I said, be very careful with whatever information you're giving the AI tool, right? If you are very careful with your personal information or company's personal information or your university's personal information, even a hack would not be that detrimental to you because you have not put any critical information in the system.
Yeah, and also most of the companies operate their own database system. That makes it very secure.
Yeah, like I said, within my company, everything that we use is built for the company. We manage everything ourselves in-house. So that makes it, like Professor said, very, very secure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was wonderful being here today. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on.
Oh.
We are gradually coming to the end of today's event. So it is my great honor to introduce our host, our dear amazing professor of artificial intelligence. He's a debate global leader.
All right.
AI research, and he's the initiator and head of the Center of the
All right. Thank you, Faiza. We want to present this to you. Don't mind the students. So we want to say thank you so much for coming. I've already sent this to your mail. Are you there, Faiza?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Thank you.
We're just giving you this today. And we have the pictures. Some pictures have been taken while you were talking, and they were already sent to your WhatsApp.
Thank you.
And then we'll have online for you. Thank you so much. Another clap for her.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me here as well.
Thank you. I also want to call up another person. I don't know if they are there. Dr. Pascal. Dr. Pascal, are you in? Yes.
Yes, I am in.
We want to say thank you again. We're presenting you.
Thank you very much. Very delighted to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, Pascal has been following me a whole lot. The Accreditor is his main page.
Absolutely.
He has been following us quite a whole lot. And Dr. Ekweani, he will also be speaking in another time. We'll have a pitch. So another clap for him.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for calling. I want to call up another person. Victoria, are you still here with us?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Now Victoria she has practically been a very good student. She was also here. So please, this is thank you so much for coming. We appreciate every one of you. And then for the students, we are going on in part 2, the poster presentation. Thank you. Another clap of it for all everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll see you guys in next month of another time of research kitchen. Thank you.
That's fine. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.